Welcome to the Sales Influence Podcast, where we talk about finding the why in how people buy. I'm your host, Victor Antonio. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for lending me your ears. You know I appreciate you. And today, I got a book because I read this book. Yes, I actually read books. And I read this book and I said, you know what? I am going to recommend this to my sales influence team, my peeps. Anyway, the book is titled Sell Without Selling Out. What a beautiful title by Andy Paul, Sell Without Selling Out. Subtitle, A Guide to Success on Your Own Terms. Now, I'm going to recommend this book. If you're just getting into sales or you're like 1 or 2 years into sales, this book is for you. Do not hesitate. Do not pause. Do not pass go without collecting your $200. Go buy the book. I am telling you, this is a great starter book. Now, could somebody who's been in sales for, let's say, 5, 10, 15 years learn something from it? Of course they can, but I'm being realistic here. I think the people who will have the most return on investment are those that are just starting out. So if you're starting out again, if you are a manager and you have a sales team and you're trying to onboard people with a sales, I'm going to say a sales ethic, a sales moral compass, this is the book for you. Now, there's a lot of stuff in this book. I dog-eared the hell out of this book, if I could be so blunt. There's so many good little tidbits here and there, reminders and nuggets. By the way, if you've been in sales for a long time and you feel like you want to read a book, this is a good book to read because for me, there were a lot of reminders, best practices, and a couple I actually forgot. So it was a really nice reminder in the book. So again, the title of the book is Sell Without Selling Out. And let me just talk about the title and what I took away as the main theme, and I really preach this. One of the things that he talks about, Andy Paul, he talks about how there's a spectrum. He says, on one side, you have selling out. On the other side of the spectrum, you have selling in. Let me describe the difference. Selling out is when you basically try to imitate other salespeople, when you try to sell like somebody else, when you try to behave like somebody else. In other words, when you're non-authentic. And you're also trying to be too salesy. One could also add you're probably trying to be a little manipulative. That means you're selling out. In other words, you're not really selling. You're selling out because you're not doing it your way. That's one. Two, you're probably doing things that maybe you know are a little sketchy and you shouldn't be doing that. And so at the other end of the spectrum, Andy Paul came up with this phrase, and I love this. He says, instead of selling out, you should begin selling in. And by selling in, he means align yourself with your core values. And by align yourself, I mean align your sales style, your sales practice, your sales behavior with your core values. And I so believe in this strongly. I mean, I'm like, when I read this, I'm like, yes, I think you should have titled the book Selling In, but that's just me. But when you're selling your way, with your speaking style, with your way of speaking, with your way of presenting, with your approach, you're selling in, you're not selling out. Selling out is when you try to do it everybody else's way but your own. Andy suggested the book, you got to learn to sell in. So again, I'm going to give this a hard recommendation. If you're just starting out in sales or you're just kind of, 1 or 2 years into sales, I strongly recommend the book, Sell Without Selling by Andy Paul. Go out and get the book. And after you get the book, again, check out my Sales Velocity Academy. If you haven't checked it out, we got some great new courses. Last year, we added about 12 new courses to the Sales Velocity. So check out salesvelocityacademy.com. And that is it for this short podcast. This is Victor Antonio, always reminding you that selling ain't hard when you're selling in, and you know how. Take care.
Hi, I'm Victor Antonio. I'm an author, sales trainer, and keynote speaker. I'm often asked, what makes a great speaker? Is it someone who delivers real content that the audience can use? Is it someone who engages the audience so they're part of the learning experience? Or is it someone who can motivate an audience to push them beyond their comfort zone and discover new abilities? The answer is yes. But the most important thing to remember is that I'm not there to look good. I'm there to make my client look good. Simply put, it's never about me, and it's always about them.